for our winner.
Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Good. Well, sorry, Sam. Didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. I'm used to this. No, it's not Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. It is the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew. And I'm Sam Jordan, sitting in here. I don't think I really needed to.
No, but
I mean, I think you've already been experienced enough in this week filling in for me or working with Keon or such. But good Saturday morning to you. Bright and sunny skies. It's Chattanooga Eagles football day as well.
It is. It's going to be a fun day. I think these Saturdays are going to start to be really fun. Doing this in the morning and then going down to Ridgeland and all day, every day on Saturday.
Yeah, especially on the days when we have to go on the road trips to Knoxville or
Nashville next week. It's gonna be interesting for sure. However we're gonna do this, but there's definitely a lot to talk about with sports.
This is a new 2-hour weekly sports show hosted by Nick Leffew. He did so well this week filling in for me. For the various reasons. We've got the move going on over to East Ridge. Wednesday, I had the pleasure, due to my son's inability to make it in from Phoenix to go see Jeff Dunham. It's like, Dad, I've got 4 tickets and we can't come. That's like, okay, so what are you going to do with them? He says, well, do you guys like Jeff Dunham? It's like, yeah. And I've never seen my wife laugh as much as she did. I mean, I'm sitting there, all right, I'm cracking up a little bit, but you really was
can't
fun.
Beat Ahmed the Dead Terrorist.
Oh no, Walter and Ahmed are my 2 favorites, and then probably Peanut.
Yeah.
But
Ahmed's always my go-to. I still use the "silence, I kill you" line all the time.
But you know what? He held back for I'd say about 10 minutes before he finally said that, because everybody kept wanting him to say silence. I'll kill you.
Yeah.
But he would say silence and then
just kind of sit there.
Yeah. And it was kind of fun. And he also got to introduce a new character. I mean, it premiered in Nashville with Bob, President Trump's personal assistant. And the emphasis was on assistant.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
You got to love the play on politics that these comedians do. But then, of course, I think, like you said a little bit, they end up showing their true colors.
Well, the thing was, he kept saying, he didn't know about introducing a character like Bob, because when you go political, you got the Democratic view, you got the Republican view. And he says, you're either going to piss off or irritate or annoy one half of your audience potentially.
Right.
Well, he says, but you'll find out my true political leanings by the time that we're done with this bit. And it was like, okay, we know your political leanings with what he did.
Let's just put it this way. It was probably a good idea to premiere it in the state of Tennessee.
Yes. And it was a standing ovation, and everybody was just roaring. I mean, he kind of gave you a little bit of hints of the other side of his political views as well to kind of balance it a little bit, but it was predominantly
which
one-sided.
Any good comedian will do.
Yes.
They won't give away their complete true colors.
Not until the very end.
Exactly.
And that's what he did. But that's not the topic of what we're here about. It's the Breakfast Blitz. And, as you know, Blitz, happens in football. And, this show is going to talk about a lot of different sports. I mean, you're going to hear football right now with the Eagles, but we're also going today to be talking about the NFL draft. A lot of surprises.
Lot to talk about.
A lot of surprises. A lot of audacity that was done because they're holding the draft down in Dallas. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I got my Cowboys Tony Romo jersey on, and I figured he was going to have some sort of Eagles garb, mind you, being the Chattanooga Eagles, and that's fine. But he's got his Chattanooga Eagles hat on, but I thought he would probably have a Tennessee Titans jersey or something.
Well, I will say this. I was very proud of what they did. I thought they've done a really good job. So it's not out of me being upset that I'm not wearing Titan stuff. It's just already got ready for the day, got Eagle stuff on, so
right,
ready to go.
But I realize the Titans doesn't have a whole lot of picks.
No.
But the one thing I was happy to see, believe it or not, coming from an NFC fan like I am, was the fact that Calvin Ridley dropped as far as he did and got picked by the Falcons, putting him with Julio Jones. That is one awesome tandem of receivers.
When I saw that Calvin was still there, I was sitting watching the draft on Thursday night, and Atlanta comes up, and I'm just like, man, Matt Ryan is sitting here salivating.
Yeah.
Waiting for them to take Calvin Ridley to go with already Mohamed Sanu and Julio Jones, obviously.
Right.
And a really good tight end in Austin Hooper. That offense.
I'm not a Falcons fan, but I think they probably got the best coup out of the draft.
I think they definitely fixed a lot of things on offense, adding that extra depth at receiver, because you had either Julio double teamed or Mohamed Sanu double teamed.
Yeah.
And now you got that third option in Calvin Ridley, and it's going to be hard to do that. So Matt Ryan's very happy. I feel like they still could have gone offensive line there too. But if Calvin Ridley's there, you can't pass.
No, you cannot pass that up. Now, the one thing, being a Cowboys fan, I was a little disappointed that a little, and I'll explain why. Des Bryant got released here about a week now, and okay, yeah, he seems like he's starting to go downhill. He's still got talent, but I think a lot of it is his brashness, his cockiness, I guess you could say, as far as with his play, and sometimes deservedly so. I mean, he makes some outstanding plays, but his mouth just runs like a water off of a duck's back and just doesn't know when to quit sometimes. And then yesterday we get news that Jason Witten is retiring from the Cowboys. So you lose your top receiver. You lose yesterday your tight end who's retiring and is going to ESPN for Monday Night Football to replace John Gruden. And it's like, then you get into the second round picks, and then you get Philadelphia pulling the stunt that they did and trading with the Indianapolis Colts to get a tight end that the Cowboys now all of a sudden need because of Witten's.
I think it would have been really nice for Witten to let them know on Thursday that this was going to happen.
Well, they had been having discussions for the last week about this potential.
In that case, if I'm Dallas, I don't take Leighton Vander Esch in the first round. Hayden Hurst is there, tight end out of South Carolina.
Yeah.
He is going to be a top-notch tight end. And you take Leighton Vander Esch, who had a spine injury and all these things in college, and you're like, oh, let's take him. Yeah, that's a bad idea. I think the Cowboys kind of botched that first-round pick, but by God, they didn't botch it as bad as the Cleveland Browns did.
Well, we'll talk about that in a moment, but it's like the Cowboys, they had pick number 50. And at 49, Indianapolis had the pick, and Philadelphia comes swooping in, making a trade. Didn't really have to give up a whole lot. And they picked Dallas Goedert, a tight end from South Dakota State. And, who is there? Oh, David Akers, kicker, an outstanding kicker. But I never knew he was as brash as he was, saying that, to the Dallas fans, you're looking at, the NFC East division champions, the NFC champions, and the Super Bowl champions. And it was I don't think other than Roger Goodell getting booed as bad as he was,
with 3 Cowboys legends right next to him.
right
Still
next to
great.
him,
Still great.
and Philadelphia's David Akers, I think, stole the show basically out of the whole draft so far. And announcing Philadelphia was going to take the tight end and Dallas Goedert.
That's great.
And, doing it in Dallas.
Just another kick to Dallas there. I mean,
let's kick them good.
Yeah, I mean, because what you need if you're Dallas, and you're not going to. Again, I still don't understand the pick in the first round. I don't get it. Leighton Vander Esch is really highly ranked, and he's a good ball player, but you need help on offense.
Mm-hmm.
You lose Des Bryant, you lose Jason Witten, and you take an inside linebacker. But
you know what? That may not be such a bad idea because of the fact of having Dak Prescott. You got Zeke back, which that was the whole irony of the whole thing with the draft being in Dallas, and they, Goodell suspended Elliott, for
and then wouldn't let him appeal.
Games. Right.
Like you said, no, we're not doing the appeal.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, okay. So there was a lot of salt in the wounds basically going on in Dallas, with Thursday and Friday. But, I don't think that necessarily is a bad idea of trying to find something to solidify the offensive line to give that protection. I think there could have been other choices for that offensive line, but, it'll be interesting to see, how they come about. Now let's go back to the beginning. Cleveland, they have 5 picks in the first round. I was thinking, Tyrod Taylor, we've talked about this on the air earlier in the week. Tyrod Taylor is not a bad quarterback.
Not at all. No.
He's probably going to be the best quarterback they've had in the last 10 years that have came through Lake Erie,
Yeah.
Why Buffalo gave up on him and not really having anything solid to back up to replace Tyrod Taylor.
They do now.
Yeah, they do now. We'll talk about that. But Baker Mayfield, I don't think really was deserving of number 1. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. I guess he has a few off-field issues and stuff. What college kid isn't? Now, Saquon Barkley, who went to the Giants from Penn State, he's as squeaky clean as you can get. I mean, I know the young man personally. Mm-hmm. Does not do anything to put himself in a bad presence whatsoever. And with that, it just Mayfield. I mean, they have Taylor. Why get another quarterback unless you don't think Taylor is going to last?
I don't think they think that. I think Tyrod Taylor is a stopgap for them. He's a guy that, for whatever reason, they decided to trade for to have some stability at the quarterback position that they haven't had in a long time and be able to kind of, whoever they decided to take at 1 or at 4, wherever they picked a quarterback, they were going to be like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Tyrod Taylor for a year or 2. We're going to let whoever we draft, which is now Baker Mayfield, develop. The thing about Baker Mayfield, people give Baker Mayfield a really hard time and everything for the off-field issues, trying to compare him to Johnny Manziel. Baker Mayfield is not going to go and miss a practice while out because he's just decided to go to Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. He's not Johnny Manziel. Those comparisons are unfair to him.
Right.
I don't know that there's a quarterback in this draft that loves football more than Baker Mayfield. So in that aspect, I think it may be a good pick. I thought it was a reach, but if it works out for them, he was the best quarterback in college football last year. He was the best.
Yeah.
And the Browns have a history of when they should have taken a quarterback, they didn't, and then take one later, and it's a disaster. So I don't know. I think that's a good thing. Obviously, his size is a big question mark, too, for the Cleveland. But Russell Wilson's not tall.
Right.
Drew Brees isn't tall. That happens. So we'll see. He is a leader. So I think the players will love him because of his on-the-field attitude that he has. Players are going to love him.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still trying to figure out if it was a great pick. Now, the fourth pick by the Browns, that was an absolute disaster. But the first pick is still kind of up in the air to me. But the fourth pick was, I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, going with a cornerback in Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. Ward's all right.
He's really good, but you could have had Bradley Chubb, the best defensive player in the draft at 4, to put on the other side of Myles Garrett and have that pass rush.
Right.
Nope, we're going to take a corner. Now, their corners are awful too, but you can, if you have a really good pass rush, you can kind of cover up how bad your corners are.
Right.
And
Denver, they were salivating after Cleveland made that pick with Ohio State.
well, because now they got Von Miller and Bradley Chubb.
Right.
So, I mean,
Denver just improved tenfold with getting that with that draft pick and Bradley Chubb. I actually thought that the Jets would have went after Chubb.
Yeah, they really needed a quarterback. I don't think they really wanted to take one at 3.
Yeah,
but they didn't really have a choice. I don't think. I mean, they don't. Their quarterback play is.
Yeah, I mean, even though former Penn Stater and Christian Hackenberg, kind of got most of the snaps last year, but I mean, it was a quarterback by committee for the Jets, and really
Mark Sanchez left.
Yeah, and Sanchez probably, he went to Dallas, and I think he's a free agent right now. I think.
Yeah, he might stay that way.
Yeah, but unless the Eagles sign him. Chattanooga Eagles.
I mean, I would love to have Mark Sanchez. Shameless plug, Mark Sanchez. If you want to come play and not get paid like you would in the NFL, come play for the Chattanooga.
Yeah, you can actually pay to play.
Yeah, you can actually pay to play instead.
Yeah. But and that probably was just a $100 bill that you could just light a cigarette or a cigar up with. Yeah, for him. But it's been an interesting draft. A lot of surprises. But like I said, I was really surprised that Chubb didn't get taken higher. And, we've talked about Mayfield. We've talked about Sam Darnold, the USC quarterback. He went to the Jets. And that may be a good fit. But I was actually thinking Josh Rosen.
That's my guy. I
actually think, I mean, the agents that Darnold, Mayfield, and all those others, the 4 quarterbacks have really good PR firms. Sam or Josh Rosen probably didn't have that great of a PR push to get him up there higher. I think he's actually the best of the quarterbacks that are out there that should have been picked, higher than what he was.
I think the Arizona Cardinals did a great thing though to trade up to 10 to get him. He can sit behind Sam Bradford this year if he needs to and learn. Arizona Cardinals did a great job taking Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen's comments after he got picked was the best thing ever too. It shows me that I love the guy.
Yeah.
Said there were 9 mistakes taken ahead of me.
Yeah.
I love it.
Confidence.
I love it. And I want to see him succeed. I loved him at UCLA. I thought he was the recipient of really poor coaching out there. And I'm really excited to see what they can do in Arizona with him. I don't think he'll play a lot this year, though. So we'll see. The Cardinals have done a good job, though, because they also took Christian Kirk a little bit later in the draft at wide receiver from Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So they're building that offense back up to help David Johnson out a little bit.
So what other surprises would you take from the first round?
Seattle Seahawks in a bad way. They take Rashad Penny at, I believe it was around 27 or so.
27.
But why would you take Rashad Penny? Rashad Penny is a good running back, but he's not the second best running back. You could have taken Sony Michel. You could have taken Nick Chubb. You could have taken Darius Geis, who I think is the best of those 3. And instead you take Rashad Penny from San Diego State. I don't get it. That completely blew my mind. And the New Orleans Saints, I don't think it was the pick of Marcus Davenport that really confused me. It was the fact they gave up so much to move up to get Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
Because that's a risk. He is either a boom or bust player. And
he's also an FCS player.
He is. But those tend to work out more than if they are, highly rated coming into the draft. Those FCS guys tend to work out pretty well. I thought my Titans did a good job in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, Rashaan Evans.
He's going to start day one. He will start at inside linebacker, especially losing Avery Williamson. Those are a few of kind of what caught my eye. I still, the ones that completely blow my mind are Cleveland, Dallas, and Seattle in the first round. I was sitting there watching them, and I just didn't understand what was going on. But I thought the Titans have done a really good job, and then they ended up taking it and getting Harold Landry in the second round at 41. And we're going to talk. I want to talk about the way that he was introduced when we come back by Vince Young too.
All right. The Breakfast Blitz premiere show with Nick Leffew coming your way here in just a few moments on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM HD4.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatta, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Down in Dalton, 43-year-old Billy Romans was arrested and charged with 6 felony counts of sexual crimes against a child. Court documents say the victim was under 10 years old at the time the crime was committed. Mr. Romans is held without bond. Reports say a male nurse at Erlanger became disorderly to the point where he was asked to leave the emergency room, and he refused. The police say they had to come in and tase him to get him out of there. 42-year-old Roger W. Davis charged with 2 counts of assault, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. The Wacker Company back online in Charleston, Tennessee after 2 explosions caused its shutdown for inspections. Wacker Polysilicon says they're going to take the restart slowly in a public release. They won't actually begin production for a few more weeks. They're going to take time to do a safety overview. Hannity weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather.
Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Much cooler overnight, lows falling into the lower 40s. For Sunday, lots of sunshine returns. Not as warm as highs settle into the upper 60s. Chilly tomorrow night, lows near 40 with more sunny and pleasant weather for next week. Spring has sprung, and now's a great time to get those unwanted trees and shrubs cut with Paul Bunyan Tree Service. That's Paul Bunyan Tree Service, 706-937-TREE. That's 937-8733. And I'm Soren Jean 12, Chief Meteorologist, Hatch Report.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Here's what advertisers are saying.
Nooga Radio.
Radio station, they really care. They're always calling me probably once a week, checking on me, seeing how things going, see if they want to change any of the ads or do anything different, seeing what my needs are. Gotten business off the ads that you do for me, and seems to be working well at this point.
Prices were very fair. Areas in this town that we aren't able to get other ways, your radio station is able to help us out, and I really appreciate that.
We've been very pleased with the services we've got. It seems like everybody over there cares about what they're going to do, how it's going to work for us on this end, and we've been very impressed with the creativity of the ads that we've heard, and they always seem to be right on point.
Been doing business with News Talk Radio for quite some time. It's the best place and the best value you can get for your advertisement. The commercials are great. They're very professional. I was actually blown away.
The commercial that they put together was awesome. It was way far above all the other radio stations we've dealt with. The best we've had yet, guarantee you.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Hear that?
It's not what you think. That, my friend, is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yes, Indian Motorcycle. It's more than a bike. It's an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. There's also a great selection of pre-owned bikes ready to roll and all the gear you need to hit the open road. If you're thinking of joining the club, go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look at the sign on 153 in Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's that time of year again. Spring has sprung, summer just around the corner. The temperature is perfect for outdoor entertaining. But are you ready? Is your house a little dingy? Does your fence need a coat of stain? Is your deck showing wear? If you've got work to do, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hickson Pike across from Valvoline or on ChattanoogaPaint.com. Get an extra 10% off. Just say you heard it on the radio.
Mom's Furniture, her boxes of paperback romances, Mom's Estate. Oh, call Dan. Dan will help you get on with your life. Let Dan clear the old house, take care of everything. He'll hand you a nice check. 314-4034. Dan, the cleanup man. 314-4034. In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with whom? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Let Goss Insurance in Chattanooga help you today. GossInsurance.wordpress.com. Goss, representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. GossInsurance.com. Goss. GossInsurance.com. Representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. 875-2500. 875-2500.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Well, good morning. It's the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew. I'm Sam Jordan, just sitting in here having a conversation with Nick. Don't forget, later on tonight, we have a kickoff at what time? 7?
7:30.
7:30. So we'll be on the air at 7:15 with tonight's Chattanooga Eagles football game. So they're going to be taking on division rival Huntsville Rockets. And that'll be live here on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM HD4, and, of course, at NugaRadio.com. So make sure you tune in for that. Myself, along with Nick, and Keon Rose will be joining us in the broadcast booth. It's going to be a crowded booth, I think.
It will be, but we'll
make it work.
Yeah.
So it's the season kickoff, regular season kickoff for the Eagles. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll have an interview with Coach Hayden Clark. And, if any indication of last week's contest in that final exhibition game against the Tennessee Cobras, our compadres from East Ridge that play in the IAFL, we look pretty good, but it's an exhibition game. Tonight, all the marbles are on the line of seeing who's going to get it to the victory circle there.
Yeah, and in the next hour, just a little tease. We are gonna talk a little bit of Eagles football before the end of the show.
Okay.
Kind of explain a little bit what's going on with this game. This game is kind of tease a little bit, but this game is the game of the week for the GDFL. It's the number 2 team in the country, the Chattanooga Eagles, versus the number 5 team, Huntsville Rockets. So it's going to be a good night. Want everybody to come out to Ridgeland, and we'll discuss that a little bit later in the show. But it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a fun night. It's 2 out of the 3 years we've played football. We've started the season with Huntsville, so it's always
a good rivalry.
Yeah.
All right, we've been talking about the NFL draft, and if you were out there listening in or watching, we're on Facebook Live. We're also on YouTube. You can send us comments on Facebook Live as well to Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. And you can also call us at 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949. Now, Nick, we've talked about the first round, and we kind of made a few off air comments, here after that first break. Pittsburgh taking Terrell Edmonds, who's out of Virginia Tech, an inside lineman. That could be a good thing for the Steelers. I think they have more of a need at wideout since they traded Martavis Bryant to the Raiders. They ended up getting another receiver later on in the draft and everything. But, Pittsburgh, kind of got, I wouldn't say necessarily caught with, the news about getting rid of Brian. Brian hasn't been a happy camper for over a year, and they didn't want to trade him just before that deadline when it came last season, and it was probably good timing. I mean, they were able to get, I think, 2 or 3 picks from the Raiders in order to make this happen. But, just kind of evaluating that, you would have thought that they would have went for a receiver before going for a lineman or even on defense.
You would, but it's also Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I know.
And Mike Tomlin
needs to go.
Mike Tomlin will always build his defense to make sure. I mean, it's Pittsburgh.
Right.
They've been known their whole existence because of their defense. And Mike Tomlin will continue the draft that they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was more perplexed with their draft of a quarterback for the 3rd straight year. So that one kind of.
Well, I mean, Roethlisberger, he's 37, 38 years old. He is getting up there. I mean, typically quarterbacks do not go past 40, except unless you're Tom Brady. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Tom's one of those freaks of nature that probably could still go 2, maybe 3 more years.
Yeah, with Tom Brady, though, at some point you see it, quarterbacks hit a wall.
Right.
It's not something that you see maybe progressively getting worse. They're not progressively getting worse. They hit a wall.
Right.
And Tom Brady hasn't hit his yet. I mean, he threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl and lost. But at some point he's going to hit a wall. He can't keep doing this.
Right.
I think he's got 1 more year.
Really?
Yeah. I just have a feeling about it. I hope not. I love watching him play.
Yeah.
But
you look at this like the Green Bay Packers in a way. You had Brett Favre, who came there. I mean, he made his mark elsewhere, with other teams afterwards, with the Jets and with the Vikings. And it's like Aaron Rodgers just waiting in the wings. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo finally says, I don't see anything moving here anytime soon. I'm wasting away here. I need to go play somewhere else. So he goes to San Francisco, which is probably a great thing. I thought Alex Smith was a better quarterback than Garoppolo, but Washington will get to experience how good Alex Smith is. And I think is funny, just going off that, RG3 is with the Ravens right down the road.
Yeah. And then not only that, RG3's there. And then they drafted a quarterback.
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson, which I think is
not a bad pick.
I think it's a great move because he doesn't have to start right away.
Right.
He's going to be able to learn from Flacco. John Harbaugh, who is a great
I think
developer.
Flacco might get through 1 more season and he's done.
Got 2 years left on his contract. I think he'll make it through those 2, and then that's when Lamar Jackson comes in. I mean, John Harbaugh is an outstanding developer of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And always has been.
Right.
It's a perfect place for Lamar Jackson to go. So that one was exciting to me. Speaking of quarterbacks, there was one quarterback that I teased a little bit earlier who was announcing a pick who had a mediocre career, to say the least, from Vince Young. And he announced the Titans pick in the 2nd round, the 41st pick of Harold Landry. Great pick by the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible reading by Vince Young. He could not say the guy's name. His
name
is
Harold. Longhorn for you.
His name's Harold Landry.
Yeah.
It's not hard. He called him Arnold Landry.
Oh.
The Twitter backlash from the Titans fans was great. Tweets abound about how, well, at least your football career and you're announcing the names of the Titans draft picks ended the same, very poorly. Stuff like that. He got assassinated on Twitter, which was hilarious. He did apologize to Harold Landry too, but
you know what? I thought it was kind of funny and maybe a little bit of a surprise. The Atlanta Falcons 2nd round draft pick, who it was announced by,
Was it Vic?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Vic out there, and then he said, I never lost to Dallas, which was hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. Even when he played at Philadelphia.
Yeah, he didn't lose. He didn't lose a lot, period.
Right.
And I think
he still could have played a little bit more, but I don't think a lot of teams wanted to take that chance, to bring him on because of his past, when he was at Atlanta and went to jail, and, Philadelphia gave him a chance, which Philly typically does not give a lot of chances, nor do they show any brotherly love.
They loved him.
Yeah.
They loved Mike Vick. I have a couple of friends of mine from college who are big Eagles fans. They're from up in Philadelphia area. And they loved Mike Vick. I remember we were in college when Mike Vick played for them, and they loved it. They thought it was the best thing ever. I always was a big fan of Mike Vick. Of course, a lot of it's my age too. Growing up, that was the cool quarterback, and
right.
Watching him just run around. Remember that one run he had against Minnesota where he just
zigzagged around the field
through and went like 60 yards. But
we saw that last Saturday night. Yeah. Did we ever?
Yeah, we did. And but it was really exciting to see Mike Vick first off back in an Atlanta type atmosphere where he had the Rise Up hat on and everything. So I mean he's a Falcon. You can say what he can about him being an Eagle or whatever, but he's a Falcon, and it was good to see him announce that pick for them.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. The Cowboys had Bob Lilly, and then they had the family of a soldier that was killed over in Afghanistan a couple years ago. And it was good to see them bring back some of their older Hall of Famers. Bob Lilly, number 74. I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, that number. That will never, ever be worn by anybody else. And it's like, Andre Rison, was another Hall of Famer that was up there on the stage, announcing the picks. So it's good that the NFL doesn't forget about its older stars from yesteryear, from the 60s, the 70s, even early 80s. I mean, for that fact.
The NFL is very good about the way that they honor their history.
Right.
NBA, not so much.
Yeah.
I think the NFL and the Major League Baseball and NHL are probably the three that do it the best. But they do. They honor their history. It's really cool to see these guys. Nobody wants to see Roger Goodell walk up there 256 times and announce a pick. So to be able to...
But you know what? In Dallas, I think he would have gotten 256 boos.
He would have.
Yeah.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see them, even some of it's more recent history, some of it's older history, whoever they're bringing in there. It's good to see those guys, and then you see the accolades of these guys that are coming in there to announce picks. It's really cool, and I hope they continue to do that for the 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th rounds today, because those get a little tedious.
Yeah. Do you think we've got a couple players, from here in our area, from UTC, that could possibly get picked up here? I mean, do you think that we'll see that some point during the day today?
It wouldn't shock me. And it's only because once you get past round 3, well, really
it kind of flies by.
Really around 4. Once you get past round 4, people start taking flyers on people. It's who do you like? It's not more of this. Sometimes at this point, people don't know a whole lot. From 5th round on, people don't know a whole lot about these guys. So it's who you like. It's more if you're taking a flyer on somebody. So that's where you see a lot of your FCS guys go, because people will take a flyer and sometimes it really works out.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of the old NCAA division, 1AA, which is now known as the FCS Football Championship Series, that have actually made some pretty good marks in pro football and actually have made it to the Hall of Fame there in Canton. But what are some of the other things, Nick, that you took note of, I mean, with this draft?
The Houston Texans. They didn't have a pick until the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Okay. They took 2 guys who should have been taken. They had 2 picks in the 3rd round. They took 2 guys who should have been taken in the 1st round.
Really?
Yeah. Justin Reed, a safety out of Stanford.
Okay.
Outstanding pick. and offensive tackle in Martinez Rankin from Mississippi State. He's not going to play tackle at this level. His arms are too short. His reach isn't good enough, but he is going to play guard. And Deshaun Watson needs all the help he can on that offensive line. Both of those guys, that was outstanding. I couldn't, when I saw that as a Titans fan, I was like, oh gosh, they're doing it. That's the thing, is they don't need that superstar right now. They already have it. Deshaun Watson, they have JJ Watt, they have Davion Clowney. They need those role players. And they just got two guys, one Justin Reed, who could start right now, and Martinez Rankin. He's a little bit more of a project because they're going to have to move him. But gosh, those are two really good ball players. And your Cowboys did finally do something right, in my opinion. In the third round, they took Michael Gallup, the wide receiver from Colorado State, who is going to be outstanding, and they really need to replace Des Bryant. And now having to replace all the catches that happened with Jason Witten are gone. So that was a good pickup as well. I think I alluded to it a little bit, but Christian Kirk going to Arizona to help Josh Rosen develop. Christian Kirk's going to be one of those playmakers. That division's still really wide open in the NFC West.
Right.
And, I mean, the Rams had a great year.
Yes.
They just lost their offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, though, to the Tennessee Titans to take the same position. And it's a really young division. The Seahawks are doing whatever they're doing in the draft. And then you have the Cardinals, who I still think have a lot of talent, and adding Sam Bradford to act as a stopgap at quarterback is outstanding. David Johnson, the best running back in the league, arguably the best running back in the league, him and Le'Veon Bell. So, that's exciting. So I think you're going to see a lot of that division is going to be fun to watch. And I think they've done, everybody but Seattle's done a really good job in this draft.
Who do you see as getting the most improvement or help in this draft so far through 3 rounds?
I'm going to be a little biased, but the Tennessee Titans.
Really?
They've literally done exactly what they needed to do. They've gotten help at inside. They've solidified their front seven. You got Harold Landry, who's a great pass rusher, played at Boston College, or as Vince Young calls him, Arnold Landry. Harold Landry is going to be great. And Rashawn Evans is going to start day one. I think the Titans have really solidified that front seven, which is what they really needed to do to get a pass rush because they were aging there. And Titans did a really good job. I also think the let's see, who else did I have? The Atlanta Falcons just continue to Dan Quinn. Not only everybody talks about that Calvin Ridley pick, which is outstanding, but Dan Quinn just continues to draft in the later rounds these defensive players that he loves. He drafted a corner out of, I believe it was out of UCF. I'm not sure. I think they took him in the 2nd or 3rd round. But whatever Dan Quinn is doing to get that defense, it's going to be a Seattle defense. He drafted that corner's a lot like everybody's comparing him to Richard Sherman. So Atlanta, they take that flashy pick with Calvin Ridley, but they also are getting that defense better. So that'll be fun to watch. It's good in the South to have all that.
We have people that just love calling in.
Yeah, apparently.
But evidently, Atlanta, I think, they didn't have as many picks as what the Browns did, but I think they actually, in my opinion, were the one team that really solidified quite a bit.
I thought the Browns, with their picks in the 2nd round, they had the 1st and the 3rd pick of the 2nd round too. I thought they did their best picks were those picks. They took Nick Chubb, outstanding, and they also took, I believe, an offensive lineman, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Austin Corbett from Nevada. And he's supposed to be the real deal, too. Obviously, I didn't watch a lot of Nevada football in 2017, so I don't know a ton. But he's supposed to be the real deal, too. So the Browns, this draft, as much as people are criticizing them for it, they might have actually done some pretty good things. The only one that completely perplexed me was the Denzel Ward pick. But other than that.
And sometimes you have to wonder whether Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns.
Don't get me started on Jimmy Haslam.
I already heard a little bit of your rant the other night about Jimmy Haslam, but it's like he's trying to act like Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. And instead of having the personnel that's got the experience, that knows how to, prognosticate here and find the talent where we need to fill the holes, whether or not he's really giving Hugh Jackson a fair shake in molding the team that Hugh Jackson feels that he can win with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a couple good picks, but I think they kind of blew it overall. I mean, through the 3 rounds so far. Like you said, I mean, if they would have gotten Chubb,
people would be talking a lot differently about this. I don't think people are as upset about the Baker Mayfield pick as they are about the why in the world did you take Denzel Ward
at number 4?
Like, you could have traded out there and given that pick to maybe, I don't know, Buffalo, who's looking for a quarterback, who ended up taking Josh Allen, which we didn't even really talk about, but he's overrated in my opinion, so it really doesn't matter. You could have traded the 4 there, moved back to 12, and you still could have taken Denzel Ward at 12. He would have been there at 12. So I don't know.
But, it's been real interesting to see so far. And then you kind of scratch your head a little bit, not because of the dandruff or anything, but because it's like, what are they thinking?
Yeah, I feel like I say that every year when the Browns make a pick.
And you're not even a Browns fan, but it just amazes you.
It still hurts me. To watch a franchise just with a great fan base like that, just to completely just be awful all the time. That's not Jimmy Haslam needs to go. And I know this is going off on a tangent, but the NFL board of trustees and directors needs to kick him out, because he's, like I said on Thursday, he's already ruined Pilot.
Yeah.
He's already ruined the University of Tennessee athletics. And now he's in the process of completely setting the Browns back for 20 years, because right now that whole division is awful.
Yeah.
With all these picks, they could be setting up to own that division for the next 6-7 years. And instead they're doing what they're doing, where they're just going to be last.
But you know what? I mean, even though the Browns did not win a game last year, the one thing, I think there's actually one team that is actually worse than the Cleveland Browns, even though they did win a game, the Jets.
Yeah, but I really like Todd Bowles a lot, the head coach there.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get turned around. I think Darnold was a really good pick. He'll come in and help them right away.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. 423-800-8949 is the phone number to call. 423-800-8949, or you can send your comments via Facebook Live at Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. And we've got more of the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew coming up all alone in the second hour.
Right.
Stick around, folks.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Reports say a male nurse at Erlanger became disorderly to the point where he was asked to leave the emergency room, and he refused. The police say they had to come in and tase him to get him out of there. 42-year-old Roger W. Davis charged with 2 counts of assault, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. Down in Dalton, 43-year-old Billy Romans was arrested and charged with 6 felony counts of sexual crimes against a child. Court documents say the victim was under 10 years old at the time the crime was committed. Mr. Romans is held without bond. The Wacker Company back online in Charleston, Tennessee after 2 explosions caused its shutdown for inspections. Wacker Polysilicon says they're going to take the restart slowly in a public release. They won't actually begin production for a few more weeks. They're going to take time to do a safety overview. Hannity weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk Action News now.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather. Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Much cooler overnight. Lows falling into the lower 40s. For Sunday, lots of sunshine returns. Not as warm as highs settle into the upper 60s. Chilly tomorrow night. Lows near 40 with more sunny and pleasant weather for next week. Spring has sprung, and now's a great time to get those unwanted trees and shrubs cut with Paul Bunyan Tree Service. That's Paul Bunyan Tree Service, 706-937-TREE. That's 937-8733. And I'm Soren Gene 12, Chief Meteorologist, Patrick Core.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Cash, 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 and more. No, gold, 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 and more gold. Rick's got the gold, gold, gold. Don't miss out. Tired of bank rates as low as 1%? What? Then you need to go to Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. That's right. Rick guarantees profit. Get your Gold American Eagle certified by the federal government and get 8.1% profit. Guaranteed. Rick Davis, 5301 Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Chattanooga. Gold, 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 and more gold. Are you backed up?
Yep.
Are you blocked up?
Yep.
Do you need some help right now?
Yep.
Don't wait. For fast service, call Keith Plumbing now. K-E-E-F-E. Keith Plumbing. Don't wait. K-E-E-F-E. Plumbing.
Yep.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.
I want honesty, reliability, and respect. So when my car needs maintenance or repair, I go to State Line Car Care because I know they'll get the job done right for the right price the first time, every time. Oil change, just $24.95. Pesky engine light, they'll run a diagnostic free. Brakes, tires, engine, and transmission, State Line Car Care will find the problem, fix the problem, and treat you like family while you wait. Now that's the service I want, don't you? Open Monday through Saturday off Ringgold Road at Camp Jordan behind the Shell. State Line Car Care you can trust.
Okay, you've got the girl. Now it's time to take it to the next level. The ring. The only place you need to know and go is to Goss Company Jewelers. Not only do they sell retail jewelry, but offer custom jewelry too. You want something unique and personalized? Charlie Goss can do it. Charlie will guide you through the process of finding the perfect ring. Your best girl deserves the ring from the best in the business. Trust Charlie Goss at Goss Company Jewelers, behind Chili's on Gun Barrel.
Want a business phone system that gives you Outlook integration, Salesforce integration, smartphone integration? Why desk sets and expensive lines? Turn smartphones into a cohesive business system. Call Signal 619-1200. Signal Voice and Data 619-1200.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner.
Really? You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nuga Radio.
Mark Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops the right front tire. Here's Mark Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nuga Radio 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR.
If the South would have won, we'd have had it made. I'd probably run for president of the Southern states.
WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Fisher Investments.
I'm Gary Nunn. President Trump believes he shoulders the burden of resolving the conflict between the Koreas, achieving peace, getting rid of the nuclear threat. The Friday meeting between Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in is eliciting mixed response. CBS's Ben Tracy.
You do have a conservative faction here that has not been supportive of Moon Jae-in really trying to engage North Korea. There's a lot of people that say we've been down this road before here in South Korea and we've been burned by the North before. Why is this any different? But then you do have another side saying that this does feel like a different time, that this might be a different kind of North Korean leader.
It was a cold case for decades. Former cop Joseph D'Angelo, the so-called Golden State Killer accused in a series of rapes and murders, appeared in court. He was caught when investigators traced DNA evidence through a relative's sample on a genealogy website. Sacramento County DA Anne-Marie Schubert says,
once we kind of were led to him through this, then the samples were collected surreptitiously from it, which then matched. We now know the Usteri rapist Golden State Killer.
Schubert believes the evidence developed will hold up in court. A 15-year-old boy in Gaza who was wounded during violence yesterday along the Gaza-Israeli border after being hit in the head by Israeli gunfire has died. Mourners carrying the boy's body today in the Gaza Strip area. The teen was wounded during violence when thousands of Palestinians staged more protests called the Return March of Refugees and Descendants to Ancestral Homes in Israel. Add 3 states to the list where people have gotten sick from eating tainted romaine lettuce.
Health officials report that the addition of Mississippi, Tennessee, and Wisconsin brings the total to 98 cases in 22 states. 46 people have been hospitalized. The outbreak is blamed on E. coli bacteria in romaine lettuce grown in Yuma, Arizona. No deaths are reported. Health officials say you should not eat romaine lettuce unless you are 100% certain it is not from the Yuma area.
CBS's Michelle Miller. The Drug Enforcement Administration conducting National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Unused, unwanted, and expired prescriptions collected, no questions asked, then destroyed by law enforcement. His weekly address, President Trump is promising a crackdown on pushers and dealers of opioids.
We have to get really, really tough, really nasty, whatever it takes, because we have to keep them out of our country, out of our communities.
At least 6 people have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in southern Afghanistan today. 5 others wounded in the attack. Happened on an army base in Helmand province. There have been no claims of responsibility. This is CBS News.
Fisher Investments, helping people achieve a comfortable retirement for over 35 years. Learn what makes Fisher Investments different at FisherInvestments.com.
There's nothing small about your business. That's why Dell has small business technology advisors to help with solutions tailored to your needs. Plus, get free shipping and a price match guarantee on everything, including laptops with Intel Core processors. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
Right now, get 2 medium, 2-topping Pizza Hut pizzas for just $5.99 each. It's the deal you want on the pizza you crave, because no one out-pizzas the Hut. Ask for this offer. Additional charge for extra cheese, select crust types, and additional toppings. Product availability, prices, participation, delivery areas, and charges, and minimum purchase required for delivery may vary. Delivery charge is not a driver tip.
Every business needs great people, and a better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. No wonder 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just 1 day. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire.
Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/CBS News. That's ZipRecruiter.com/CBS News.
Ford's withdrawal from the North American market for mid-sized cars is creating an opening for competitors. WWJ reporter Jeff Gilbert in Detroit.
Compact and mid-sized cars make up nearly a quarter of all sales. LMC automotive analyst Jeff Schuster says with Ford out of the market, others will gain.
It's probably Toyota, it's Honda, it's Hyundai and Kia, Nissan as well.
Chevy, which is reportedly looking to kill its large Avalon and small Sonic, stressing that its mid-size Malibu and its compact Cruze aren't going anywhere. Jeff Gilbert for CBS News, Detroit.
First sea voyage for Russia's controversial floating nuclear power plant. The facility was towed today out of St. Petersburg shipyard, where it was built. It'll be moved through the Baltic Sea around the northern tip of Norway to Murmansk. There, its reactors will be loaded with nuclear fuel. Gary Nunn, CBS News.
It's time
to join news with Bronson Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio, 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Reports say a male nurse at Erlanger became disorderly to the point where he was asked to leave the emergency room, and he refused. The police say they had to come in and tase him to get him out of there. 42-year-old Roger W. Davis charged with 2 counts of assault, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. Down in Dalton, 43-year-old Billy Romans was arrested and charged with 6 felony counts of sexual crimes against a child. Court documents say the victim was under 10 years old at the time the crime was committed. Mr. Romans is held without bond. The Wacker Company back online in Charleston, Tennessee after 2 explosions caused its shutdown for inspections. Rocker Polysilicon says they're going to take the restart slowly in a public release. They won't actually begin production for a few more weeks. They're going to take time to do a safety overview. Hannity weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk, Action News now.
92.7 Nuga Radio. Chattanooga weather.
After a briefly cool start, expect lots of sunshine and great-looking weather for your Saturday. A little on the breezy side, highs lower to middle 70s. Tonight, cooling down, lows back into the lower 40s. For Sunday, sunshine, not as warm, highs upper 60s, with more sunny and pleasant weather for next week. Spring has sprung, so check out Glass Farm Nursery with a big assortment of tropicals, perennials, and annuals to beautify your lawn and garden. Open daily, closed Sundays. That's Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Storm Gene 12, Chief Meteorologist at your 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with?
Eric,
You're our winner. Really?
you'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz here on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. This is Nick Leffew. So we did spend that first hour talking the NFL draft the whole time. I was thinking it might be a little bit time to go a little more regional for this next segment. The Nashville Predators last night, they played the Winnipeg Jets in game 1 of the second round. Now, these were the 2 best teams in the Western Conference, and they have to meet in the second round of the playoffs. We'll talk about the seeding of the playoffs and how that works a little bit later in this segment, because that's really frustrating as well. But the Preds lose 4-1. Okay, you look at that score. If you didn't get to watch the game, you look at that score, and you're like, man, the Preds got dominated. They didn't play well. You know, they struggled in that first round with Colorado, and they were a lot better. Well, they didn't get dominated last night. They got dominated for about 5 minutes of total hockey out of the 60. And they lose 4-1 on home ice in game 1. The Preds dominated the play. They outshot the Jets for the whole game, 48-19. 48 shots on goal and scored 1 goal. That's the most shots on goal that the Predators have ever had in a playoff game, in a regulation playoff game. So in 60 minutes, they got 48 shots. A lot of shots to only score 1 goal. So you got to wonder, you got to think about, why are they only scoring 1 goal? Well, the first thing is obviously Connor Hellebuck, the goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets, is on another planet right now. He is a Vezina Award finalist. That award is for the best goalie in hockey. His counterpart, Pekka Rinne, for the Nashville Predators, is also a Vezina finalist. But Connor Hellebuck, he's on another planet. He was stopping everything the Predators were throwing at him. Now, however, I will say this. If you're the Nashville Predators, you got to get better chances. Just because you're throwing 48 shots on net does not mean that they are actually good chances. Of those 48 shots, now I watched the whole game last night, and of those 48 shots, maybe 15 were actually good chances to score, and that's stretching it, because it might not have even been that many. They're not getting traffic to the net, which if you're not a big hockey fan, the way that you're able to beat goalies in at this high of a level, they're going to be able to stop a shot if they can see it the whole way. Okay, if they're able to see the puck the whole way, they're going to make the stop. You got to get traffic in front of them. You got to make it hard. You got to block the lanes. You can't make them be able to see when the puck's coming at you. I would say at least 35 of those shots were easy for Connor Hellebuck to stop. And that gets you in a rhythm as a goaltender. If you're Connor Hellebuck and you're able to just see everything, you get in a rhythm, and that puck begins to start looking like a beach ball for him. And he's able to stop everything. So you give him a few easy saves early, and he's able to make every save because he's got the confidence. Pecorine, on the other hand, if we look at the other Vezina finalists, gave up 3 goals in 2 periods before they pulled him. However, I don't think you can sit here and just blame Pecorine for this. One, the defense was awful in the second period, especially. The defense for the Predators was awful. And there was the second goal that Winnipeg scored was a rebound that Pekka gave up. So it was a shot from the middle of the ice called the slot, and the puck got to Rene on a deflection. He knocked it. He blockered it away, and it came out to the slot again. 2 Predators there. Neither one of them cleared the puck, and Pekka's on his rear end and can't make the save on the second shot. It's not Pekka's fault. You got to be able to clear the puck there. Pekka did not get a lot of help. And people are really crucifying him on Twitter and everything because he gave up 3 goals in 2 periods to a team that scores a lot of goals. This was the highest scoring regular season series that the Predators had. And, with the Jets. And I just don't understand why people are all over Pekka the way they are. You have 2 great goaltenders. Pekka over here, they had 19 shots in 3 periods. So that means that Pekka is over there standing around, skating around. If you're looking on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you're skating around like this. You're skating around because you're bored. There's nothing. I don't know if anybody ever watched the Mighty Ducks growing up, or whatever. The second movie, Cat, the goaltender, they were dominating everything in those youth Olympics or whatever they were called. They were playing in, and she's just skating around because she's bored as a goaltender, saying "so bored," just singing. I felt like that's what Pekka was like, and then when a chance came to him, it was like, oh crap, I got to actually do something. And then his defense doesn't even help him out. So if I'm Peter Laviolette, I'm not really crucifying Pecorine. I'm looking at his defense. I'm looking at those 6 guys that are back there playing defense throughout the game. And I'm like, guys, we got to back check. We got to get back on these guys. We know they have speed. We know that. That's their MO. That's Winnipeg's MO. They're going to get speed through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. So I don't know how to take this. I've rambled for 6 minutes about the goalie play because it's really frustrating to me to see the way people are crucifying Pecorine. But I think you can look at this for 2 ways for the Preds. These are best of 7 series. Each hockey game has its own story. Each hockey game is its own entity in a series. So there's 2 ways you can look at it. You can look at it as a positive for the Predators. Say, hey, we played some desperate hockey out there last night. We did some really good things. We were able to pressure the Winnipeg Jets on the forecheck. So we were able to stay in their zone most of the night. We got 48 shots on Connor Hellebuck. That's a lot of shots, and it's going to make him tired. If you keep doing that, pucks are going to get past the guy. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're getting 50 shots a game, you're going to get pucks in the net. And so you can look at it as a positive. Predators can also play a lot better defensively, which is their MO. They're a defensive team. They're built around those defensemen and Ryan Ellis and Roman Josi and PK Subban, Matthias Ekholm. And they can play a lot better on that end. So that's exciting to know that, yeah, you get beat in game 1, but you still can play a lot better. However, you can also look at that on the flip side as a negative and be, well, we absolutely dominated that game. We outshot them by 30. and lost by 3. So are you going to be able to play that well for an entire series? And if you are able to play that well, can you actually win one of the games? And I don't know. I mean, I think if you're, the Predators locker room had to be a little depressed last night. You go out there, you execute the way you want to. You are out there, you are dominating play for 60 minutes, and you can't win. If you're the Winnipeg Jets, you're probably thinking to yourself, my gosh, we played terrible hockey for about -5 minutes of that game, and you're still able to win and still won. You've just stolen home ice. And so now you're at that point where if you're the Predators, the Winnipeg has all the confidence in the world, and you're sitting there scratching your head today as you go through a skate this morning to try to figure out what you need to do to fix. And I'm going to kind of criticize Peter Laviolette here for a second. I know how you fix this physicality issue in front of the net. You put Ryan Hartman and you put Scott Hartnell in the lineup. Scott Hartnell is a veteran on his second stint with the Nashville Predators. Has played 1 game in these playoffs. He's been a scratch the rest of the time, which means he's on the roster. He's just not playing. And if you're Peter Laviolette and if you saw what happened there last night, you didn't have bodies in front of the net in front of Connor Hellebuck. The first guy I put out there is Scott Hartnell, because that man will get in front of the net. He will cause Connor Hellebuck so much pain and frustration because he's going to be in front of him every time he's on the ice. And Scott Hartnell's not going to log, 18 minutes of ice time. He's going to probably get 8 or 9, maybe 10 minutes if he's lucky. But that 10 minutes could be really beneficial for the Predators if he can get in front of the net. The other guy is Ryan Hartman. You traded for this guy at the deadline with the Chicago Blackhawks. He is your most physical forward you have, other than maybe Austin Watson, who was injured last night, and we'll get to that in a second too. But Ryan Hartman is the guy who's physically going to be able to stand up to guys like Dustin Byfuglien, defenseman for the Winnipeg Jets, who are quite frankly just a bully. He's just a bully. And you got to have people stand up to him. He played a very dirty game last night, and again, I won't get too far into that because that's just another topic for another day. And if this series continues to go this way, you may hear me ramble about it next week as well. But Ryan Hartman is a guy who could also play. So I'm interested to see tomorrow. They play tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on NBC Sports Network. I'm interested to see if Peter Laviolette makes some lineup changes. I think you're at the point right now, if you are Peter Laviolette, you have to think about restructuring your lines. Mika Salamaki, who's on the 4th line, along with Calle Yarncrook, they're both really great players. However, their speed. So maybe I would definitely keep one of them in the lineup. I would keep Calle Yarncrook in the lineup, but maybe trade out Mika Salamaki with either Ryan Hartman or Scott Hartnell. And then, of course, if Austin Watson can't go, then there you go. You got both of them in there. Peter Laviolette is a really good NHL coach. You don't make it to 3 Stanley Cups and win one if you're not. So Peter Laviolette knows what to do. I don't think, as a Predators fan, you need to overreact to what happened last night, because what happened last night was just an anomaly. You don't dominate a game like that and lose most of the time. So if you're a Predators fan, don't hit the panic button yet. Wait till they can see what they do on Sunday. You can see what they do on Sunday. If they play like that again and still lose and you're down 0-2 going to Winnipeg, then yeah, now it's time to worry. But the Predators are talented. They've been here before. They know what they're doing. Winnipeg has not been here before. They don't know what it's like for the grind of the playoffs yet. So give it a minute. Take the game for what it was last night and move forward. I'll move away from hockey for a minute and go to the NBA playoffs. And again, if you're watching on Facebook Live or on our YouTube broadcast, you can see that I'm smiling because LeBron James lost again last night, and Keon and I talked quite a bit this week about how bad that Cleveland Cavaliers roster is. It's going to look even worse the longer series go because these guys are bad, and when you have time to scout, that's what happens. You lose by almost 30 points to the Indiana Pacers last night. They force a Game 7. So even if Cleveland wins this Game 7 at home, I guess Sunday is when they'll play. I haven't looked at the schedule yet. But even if they do win that game, you play Toronto, who's on a lot of rest. Now, Toronto does normally do what Toronto does and lose in the playoffs, and it's amazing they made it out of the first round. But it's exciting to see, somebody change, maybe start changing the guard in the NBA. So I didn't want to really break down games that much, but I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe the changing of the guard in the NBA. You're starting to see teams, and it all starts with the process in Philadelphia. And you're starting to see different teams be successful, which is great because I'm about sick and tired of seeing Golden State and Cleveland in the finals. I love Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's my favorite player, but I've got Warrior fatigue. I got Cav fatigue. I'm ready to see some other teams do something. I think Philadelphia is the team out of the East who's going to make a run. Now, Utah closed out Oklahoma City last night in 6 games. That right there, that's a team who could make a run in the West, is that Utah Jazz team. And I know Keon especially is a big fan of that Utah team, and especially the way they play defense. I love it. If you look at the teams that are starting to be successful again in the NBA, they have big men. And it's exciting to see that we're getting back to older school basketball compared to the just jump shooting, everything. You get a lot of driving to the basket. You got a lot of post-ups with people like Rudy Gobert and Joel Embiid. But those guys can also stretch it a little bit and hit some mid-range jumpers. So it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see what's going on in the NBA right now. And if you don't have a rooting interest in the NBA right now, jump on the Philadelphia 76ers bandwagon. If you haven't watched them much, watch them, because that is fun basketball. And it's not only is it fun basketball, it's fun to see that people criticize them for trusting the process. Well, they've trusted it in Philadelphia, and they're being rewarded. And Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz, and company, Ben Simmons, who's probably going to be the Rookie of the Year, outstanding and fun to watch. So I'm really excited to see what they can do. And it's also amazing to see that when you are the number 1 seed in the playoffs, you play the number 4 seed. If you move on to the second round, the winner of that 4-5 game, instead of what the NHL does. And then I did want to talk about this. So we're going to all make it full circle back to the NHL, right? NBA does it right. It seeds at 1 through 8. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. And then you move on. NHL, no, we got divisions and 2 wild cards and all this crap. So you have the 2 best teams in the Western Conference in the same division. So 3 teams out of it. I'll break down the way the playoffs work in the NHL real quick. So you have 4 divisions across 2 conferences. You have the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and each of those conferences have 2 divisions. 3 teams, the top 3 teams from each division, make it to the playoffs. Okay? And they're seeded 1, 2, 3 for that division. So, for instance, the Predators are in the Central Division. They were seeded 1 in the Central Division. The Jets were seeded second in the Central Division, and the Minnesota Wild were seeded third. Now, the Predators obviously don't have a matchup, right? Well, here's where the wild card teams come into play. You have wild card 1 and wild card 2. The Predators, since they had the best record in the NHL, got wild card 2, the worst team, the last team to make the playoffs. However, that's all good for the first round, but then you have to play the second-rated team in your conference, or in your division, in your division, which was the Winnipeg Jets, which was the second-best team in the conference. Instead of the Predators getting the worst remaining team, which is what it used to be in the NHL until they redid everything and made it ridiculously hard to follow. Now that the Predators have to play the second-best team in the NHL, you're looking at the Predators or the Jets, whoever loses the series, out in the second round, and they're the two best teams all season. And instead, you look at the Pacific Division in the Western Conference and the Vegas Golden Knights, who have a freaking cakewalk through the playoffs because of their division. I think if you're the NHL, you really need to rethink what you tried to do, because it's not the best way to get your best teams the furthest in the playoffs. People don't want to sit and watch. It's hockey. It's not the NCAA tournament. We don't care about Cinderellas. Last year, people fell in love with the Nashville Predators, but a lot of people hated it because they were the last team in out of 16 teams and made it to the Stanley Cup Finals because of the stupid seeding we have. So, I think the NBA does it right. The NFL does it right. Everybody else in professional sports leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to their playoff brackets, especially the NHL. All right, well, thank you again for joining us here on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. This is Nick Leffew with the Breakfast Blitz. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more. Talk a little bit of Tennessee football, maybe a little bit of Chattanooga Eagles football as well. We'll be right back here on 92.7 FM, Nuga Radio.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Down in Dalton, 43-year-old Billy Romans was arrested and charged with 6 felony counts of sexual crimes against a child. Court documents say the victim was under 10 years old at the time the crime was committed. Mr. Romans is held without bond. Reports say a male nurse at Erlanger became disorderly to the point where he was asked to leave the emergency room, and he refused. The police say they had to come in and tase him to get him out of there. 42-year-old Roger W. Davis charged with 2 counts of assault, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. The Wacker Company back online in Charleston, Tennessee after 2 explosions caused its shutdown for inspections. Wacker Polysilicon says they're going to take the restarts slowly in a public release. They won't actually begin production for a few more weeks. They're going to take time to do a safety overview. Hannity weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk, Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather. After a briefly cool start, expect lots of sunshine and great-looking weather for your Saturday. A little on the breezy side, highs lower to middle 70s. Tonight, cooling down, lows back into the lower 40s. For Sunday, sunshine, not as warm, highs upper 60s, with more sunny and pleasant weather for next week. Spring has sprung, so check out Glass Farm Nursery with a big assortment of tropicals, perennials, and annuals to beautify your lawn and garden. Open daily, closed Sundays. That's Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Soares G12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Here's what advertisers are saying.
Nuga Radio.
The radio station, they really care. They're always calling me probably once a week, checking on me, seeing how things going, seeing if they want to change any of the ads or do anything different, seeing what my needs are. I've gotten business off the ads that you do for me, and seems to be working well at this point.
Prices were very fair. Areas in this town that we aren't able to get other ways, your radio station is able to help us out, and I really appreciate that.
We've been very pleased pleased with the services we've got. It seems like everybody over there cares about what they're going to do, how it's going to work for us on this end. And we've been very impressed with the creativity of the ads that we've heard, and they always seem to be right on point.
Been doing business with News Talk Radio for quite some time. It's the best place and the best value you can get for your advertisement. The commercials are great. They're very professional. I was actually blown away.
The commercial that they put together was awesome. It was way far above all the other radio stations we've dealt with. The best we've had yet, guarantee you.
The Tennessee Valley's News Talk leader, Nuga Radio, 92.7 FM.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Hear that? It's not what you think. That, my friend, is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yes, Indian Motorcycle. It's more than a bike. It's an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. There's also a great selection of pre-owned bikes ready to roll and all the gear you need to hit the open road. If you're thinking of joining the club, go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's that time of year again. Spring has sprung, summer just around the corner. The temperature is perfect for outdoor entertaining. But are you ready? Is your house a little dingy? Does your fence need a coat of stain? Is your deck showing wear? If you've got work to do, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hickson Pike across from Valvoline or on ChattanoogaPaint.com. Get an extra 10% off. Just say you heard it on the radio.
Mom's Furniture, her boxes of paperback romances, Mom's Estate. Oh, call Dan. Dan will help you get on with your life. Let Dan clear the old house. Take care of everything. He'll hand you a nice check. 314-4034. Dan, the cleanup man. 314-4034. In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with whom? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Let Goss Insurance in Chattanooga help you today. GossInsurance.wordpress.com. Goss, representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. GossInsurance.com. Goss. GossInsurance.com. Representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. 875-2500. 875-2500.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew here on 92.7 FM Nuga Radio. So we just got finished having my little vent and therapy session about the Nashville Predators and how they completely struggled and botched yesterday, and we had last night in Game 1 in the playoffs. We're going to switch sports, going to stay regional, and we're going to switch to another thing that likes to break my heart, and that's Tennessee football. Just kind of want to give a recap of the way the week went up in Knoxville. So it's been kind of interesting. Obviously, last weekend, a week ago today, Tennessee spring game, the orange and white game. And I talked with a good friend of mine, Thomas Duggins, on Monday's show with the Clutch with Keon Rose. I discussed a little bit of the breakdown and what to take away from that. I want to kind of expound on my ideas that I had on Monday. The biggest takeaway from everything had nothing to do with anything that happened on the field. Jeremy Pruitt has been criticized by Tennessee fans unfairly, in my opinion, about his comments that he made towards the fan base, I guess. I didn't take it as much of a shot at the fan base as I took it more as a shot at the players. He was talking about how, yeah, our football team's kind of like our fans, okay? We have our people who show up and do what they're supposed to do. We have our ones who are just kind of here, don't really know why they're here. They're just here. And then we have the people who are just doing something else entirely. I don't know who he was talking about. If he's making an analogy to the football team, I don't know who he's talking about. Somebody just not even being there. As far as I know, I don't think anybody was just not there. I know Jawan Jennings didn't play, along with a couple other defensive stars and Daniel Batuli and Darren Kirkland. However, I feel like as a Tennessee fan, you've wanted for so long somebody just to tell you how it is. You had Butch Jones, who all he cared about was his image. Not the football that was on the field. He cared about his perception with the media and in coaching circles, which I'm sure is not very good in coaching circles. And now you have a guy in Jeremy Pruitt, which is what you wanted. You wanted a guy in Jeremy Pruitt who tells it like it is. And then he tells you like it is, and you get angry. Tennessee fans, and I feel like I can really talk about this and attest to this because I am one. Tennessee fans are in a very, very vulnerable place right now. Okay, you just went through probably the worst PR nightmare you could have ever been a part of in the 2017 football season, which ended in not only a coach getting fired, but a athletic director who just decided to go rogue and hire Mike Leach without anybody's permission after he and Jimmy Haslam, we'll bring him back up, decided they wanted Greg Schiano. Guys, Greg Schiano, and I'm going to go on a tangent about Greg Schiano for a second, and I promise this will be the last time I do this, hopefully ever. Greg Schiano is not even a good football coach. Forget the Penn State stuff. He's not even a good football coach. He turned, quote unquote, turned Rutgers around in a really bad Big East. And he did that because he had the best running back in college football in Ray Rice. And then he goes to the NFL and completely destroys whatever the Buccaneers had. Nobody wants to play for the guy. He's Butch Jones 2.0. Nobody likes him. The players don't like him. Coaches like him because he's a good football coach, but he's frankly just a jerk. And nobody wants to play for the guy. Well, now you got Jeremy Pruitt, who anybody that's played for Jeremy Pruitt, he's a player's coach. He just loves football. He don't want to talk about anything else. He wants to talk about football. That's all he wants to do is football. And he makes these comments, and now everybody's all mad and say, well, that starts the clock on Jeremy Pruitt. Can't be calling out the fan base like that. Well, guys, you got what you wanted. You wanted a coach who's going to tell you how it is. And now you just don't even, now it's because, well, he said something bad about us, so that's it. It's over. No, you got it. If that's what you want, sometimes you got to take the truth. Our fans right now are apathetic. Tennessee fans are apathetic, and the reason why they're apathetic is fair. The administration at the University of Tennessee, dating back before I even got there as a student in 2009, has been atrocious. They don't care. They don't care about sports. And to be quite frank, most of the time it doesn't appear they care about academics either. So all they care about is making that money. They want those out-of-state kids to come to the University of Tennessee because that's who makes them the money. I had a lot of friends in college at UT who were out-of-state kids who paid a lot of money to go to UT. That's who they want. It's supposed to be a land grant university for the state of Tennessee, and we take people from California over. We taking people from the state of Tennessee. You're not a private school. You're not a private school. You are a state-run university, and you're run by a bunch of crooks, starting with Jimmy Haslam. And so you finally get kind of a little bit of a turnover in December when Philip Fulmer comes in, and Beverly Davenport, the chancellor, finally decides to stand up to the Haslams and say, no, we need to fix this. We need to make this look like we're not a laughingstock. Philip Fulmer comes in. He hires a football coach, not a PR guy, and now you're mad. The sad part is that right there is the whole takeaway from spring practice. There's not one thing about, man, Jared Garantano kind of looked like he knew what he was doing in this new offense compared to last year where there really wasn't an offense and he didn't know what he was doing. That's a plus. Didn't look like, man, that starting offensive line, if they can stay healthy, they'll be halfway decent. Or it's not even, my gosh, what's wrong with the defense? No, we're worried about what Jeremy Pruitt says. So don't start getting mad when people call you out as a fan base, because we got, as a Tennessee fan base, we got what we deserved with Butch Jones because that's the way we've been acting. Now that's over. Now it's time to put your big boy panties on and go play football and go be a good fan. Now, get away from that a little bit on that tangent. The other big takeaway from the week from Tennessee football was a video that was released by the athletic department of strength and conditioning coach Craig Fitzgerald. Now, I don't know how many of you know any background on Craig Fitzgerald, but Craig Fitzgerald, he has been a strength and conditioning coach in a lot of places. He just most recently from the Houston Texans with Bill O'Brien. I do believe he was at Penn State with Bill O'Brien. So, Sam Jordan, there you go. There's your Penn State connection. Craig Fitzgerald released a video the athletic department released a video of Craig Fitzgerald. He was at the weight room, which for the second consecutive year, they're completely demolishing and rebuilding. So we won't talk about all that money that they're wasting. And he said in the video that we got to take the floor out. The floor is the problem. And so they take the floor and then they put in a new floor. Craig Fitzgerald looked like in that video. If you have a chance, please, if you're a Tennessee fan, go watch it if you haven't. It's outstanding. It looks like something that probably should have taken about 10 minutes to film, but knowing Craig Fitzgerald, it probably took him 8 hours. Comes in, he's all juiced up on pre-workout and Red Bulls. And they're like, Craig, what are you doing? He's running all his words together when he's in there talking to, it's Craig Fitzgerald. And you're just like, what is going on right now? And it truly is. It's a great video. If you have a chance to watch it. But to the more important point, we're tearing out the weight room again. That's millions of dollars. And I understand Butch Jones didn't run a weight program, a strength and conditioning program. There wasn't one. So maybe you do need to rebuild it. When the players can determine whether or not they work out, that usually does not end well. So maybe they do need to rebuild it. But that video did not help anything. And talking about videos in PR for the University of Tennessee, they also released a tweet from the athletic department stating how great it is to be coached by folks on this coaching staff. It's good, right? Except all they did was talk about players that they've coached at previous stops and how they're in the NFL. That rubbed Tennessee fans the wrong way. Not really sure why. Guys, they've been here for 5 months. They haven't had anybody get drafted from the University of Tennessee. This is a recruiting ploy, guys. They want people to come to the University of Tennessee to play football. They want the best of the best there because they're saying this coaching staff can develop you and put you in the NFL, which, believe it or not, Tennessee fans, everybody's end goal as a football player is not to play for the University of Tennessee. No, they want to go to the NFL. So if that's what you want as a football player, then that stat that they threw out there about the players who have played for this coaching staff at wherever they are, wherever they've coached, and they have all these players, these lists of players that are playing in the NFL, then what's the problem? Tennessee fans have become they've lost their way, for lack of a better term and a better phrase. They just don't know what they want anymore. They don't know how to be good. Because frankly, they haven't been good in about 15 years. So, you know, I don't know what you have to do. You clearly have to change the culture, and I think Jeremy Pruitt is doing a good job of that. The players seem to like him. Obviously, you haven't played a game yet, so they're going to like you. You haven't lost a game yet, more importantly. But, you know, I just don't understand why we grasp at straws as a fan base to try to find a reason to run somebody out of town. Because all you've heard all week was, well, Jeremy Pruitt's clock started. He better go out and win some games. Well, guys, I mean, that's his job. He's going to go try and win some football games, and that's what he's here to do. He's not going to go out there and try to fluff up his program with all these gimmicky sayings and brick by brick and 63 effort. You're not going to get that anymore. You're going to get a guy who coaches football. And get ready to hear Philip Fulmer talk, because Jeremy Pruitt doesn't want to talk anymore. He wants to coach football. So you're going to hear a lot of Philip Fulmer. You may get Jeremy Pruitt one day a week, Monday, when he does his press conference during the season, and you're going to get him Saturday after the game, and that's probably about it. Last thing about Tennessee before we move on to very localized, so we're going regional to local here in a second. There are there's been one Tennessee player drafted so far in the NFL draft. It's Rashawn Golden, cornerback. He was drafted by the Carolina Panthers in round 3. Here's the thing about Rashawn Golden. Everybody's going to remember Rashawn Golden for giving the Alabama fans the "we're number one" salute after a pick 6 by a teammate, which me personally, I truly enjoyed that. It shows he actually had some heart and wanted to play some football compared to the rest of the team who just didn't care, along with their head coach. But Rashawn Golden is a guy, the Panthers took a really good player there. He can play safety. He can play corner. He's probably going to be a really good nickel corner in the NFL. He did it really well at Tennessee without any coaching. So I can imagine Ron Rivera's great defensive mind being able to work that guy in. He's going to be a problem for people, and he's going to be fun to watch. I'm glad he stayed in the South so we can watch him play on Sundays. I think he's going to be fun. The other guy that Tennessee fans are kind of wanting to know where he's going to go is John Kelly, the running back. John Kelly, a lot of people were like, man, I probably shouldn't have left. I get it, though. They're going to try to run pro-style offense at Tennessee now. That doesn't really fit what John Kelly can do. So I really get why he left for the draft. I hope he gets drafted. I do think he can be very successful in the NFL. He's no Alvin Kamara, but he is a really good back that with, again, like I said, I feel like a broken record about Tennessee players that are coming out. With good coaching, can be really successful. So, you know, I don't really expect anybody other than those two getting drafted off the Tennessee roster. The SEC has dominated the draft as always. And as a Tennessee fan, it's just nice to see Tennessee actually get a couple of players drafted. So we're going to move away from that before my blood pressure continues to rise about Tennessee football. And talk about a game that Sam Jordan and I will be broadcasting on this station along with Keon Rose tonight. 92.7 FM Nougat Radio at 7:15. We count down to kickoff for the Chattanooga Eagles. Game 1 of the regular season against our rivals, the Huntsville Rockets. Now, these two teams have played a lot of football against each other in the last few years, and there's not a lot of love lost on the field. However, I will say this about the two organizations. When it comes to after the game's done, after the final buzzer sounds, there's a lot of respect between these two franchises. And it's exciting to see that in a league like this, in developmental football, two franchises who do it the right way. And the Huntsville Rockets have my utmost respect. I enjoy talking with anybody on their coaching staff, on their staff in general. They're great people. I'm excited for them to be here today. Again, the game is at 7:30 at Ridgeland High School in Rossville, Georgia. We did move locations this year from Central High School. We followed Coach Courtney Braswell down there to Ridgeland. It's an exciting time for us. We upgrade our facilities and are able to do what we need to do to continue championship pedigree football. Now, that being said, this game tonight, is going to be a slugfest. These always are. They're usually very low scoring, very defensive. Huntsville does have a player on the defensive line who played at Auburn University. They're very good. They're very good in the front seven. It's going to be fun. If you are looking for something to do on a beautiful Saturday evening that we're going to have, and you're missing some football and you got that itch, come down to Ridgeland High School. Game's at 7:30. Tickets are only $10 a piece. Okay? Kids 10 and under, get in for free. And as a raffle, when you get your ticket, when you buy the $10 ticket, you're entered to win a $100 prize, $100 cash. Just for buying a ticket and coming to the game. We'll have the drawing at halftime for that. It's truly exciting time with local sports here. You know, Chattanooga Football Club getting everything going and getting into rhythm of their season, and us with the Chattanooga Eagles getting going. It's going to be a fun summer in Chattanooga. You got the Lookouts with great talent from the Minnesota Twins organization. It's going to be a fun summer in Chattanooga. If you are looking for sports to do, to watch and to go watch in a stadium, you have your choices this summer with baseball, soccer, and football. I'm really excited about the season that we can have as the Chattanooga Eagles. Coming off of a conference championship last year, getting to the national championship, left our players very hungry. And it's exciting to see what Coach Clark is able to do with these guys and continue to just mold them and make them into better football players and better men. And it's going to be a fun season. So if you are able to get out to Ridgeland High School tonight, 7:30, if you're not, that's okay. Listen to us live here on 92.7 FM Nougat Radio. You can also listen live on NougatRadio.com, and we'll have it streaming on Facebook Live as well. This is Nick Leffew for the Breakfast Blitz here on 92.7 FM. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nougat Radio, 92.7 FM.